This is a true and disturbing story. A 25-year-old man vanished without a trace, and 10 years later, his body was found inside the very supermarket where he had worked. But the most shocking part? He had been there the entire time. The case took place in 2009 in the state of Iowa, USA. The young man, named Larry, suffered from severe paranoia and frequently experienced auditory and visual hallucinations. According to his mother, he was highly obsessive, and on Thanksgiving Day, he came home from work visibly shaken. Larry claimed he was hearing voices, telling him to eat sweets to calm his racing heartbeat, and believed he was being followed, which left him terrified. That same day, his doctor had prescribed a new medication, but Larry got into a heated argument with his family about whether he should take it. In the midst of the fight, he shouted, "I need to calm down," slammed the door, and stormed out. At first, his relatives thought he would return once he cooled off, as he had done before. But when night fell and he still hadn't come back, worry set in. The next day, with no sign of Larry, his family began searching for him desperately. They asked friends and acquaintances, but no one had seen him. Left with no other options, his parents called the police, who launched an extensive search of the area. Security cameras provided the only solid lead. Larry was last seen wearing a heavy jacket in the parking lot of the supermarket where he worked. After that, his trail vanished completely. Days passed, and with no new clues, his family sank into despair. With no evidence to suggest otherwise, the most widely accepted theory was that, overwhelmed by a psychotic episode, he had taken his own life. For 10 years, that remained the only possible explanation, until one morning, when the police received a chilling call. A demolition crew, dismantling shelves and refrigerators in an abandoned supermarket, had discovered human remains hidden in a narrow gap. The location? The same supermarket where Larry had worked. The store had shut down 3 years earlier due to financial struggles, and the body was in such an advanced state of decomposition that, at first glance, it was impossible to determine identity, age, or even the victim's gender. The remains were sent for forensic analysis, and the results confirmed the unthinkable. It was Larry, the young man who had gone missing in 2009. Based on testimonies from former employees, the police were able to reconstruct his likely cause of death. In the supermarket, workers would sometimes climb onto the refrigerators to retrieve stored items. On the night of his disappearance, Larry may have done exactly that, perhaps seeking a moment alone or trying to grab something. But somehow, he fell into a narrow gap between the refrigerator and the wall. The space was only 45 cm 18 inches wide and 3 meters, 10 feet high. Trapped with no way to escape, Larry remained stuck there, unnoticed. To make matters worse, the constant noise of the refrigerators drowned out any cries for help. And the cruelest detail, that day was not his shift, so no one even suspected he was inside the supermarket. Over the years, customers had occasionally complained about a strange odor in the store, but no one investigated further. As employees continued their daily routines, climbing onto the refrigerators to store products, Larry's body remained hidden just below. Shoppers browsed for groceries, unaware that just a few feet away, a tragic mystery was waiting to be uncovered.